Hi guys, right, I wanted to talk about The Reckoning, which is a new drama on the BBC, which a lot of people have talked about, and it goes around the cases or the situation involving Jimmy Savile back in the 1970s and 80s and going onwards from there. And everyone knows about the Jimmy Savile situation. Everyone has seen the documentaries and seen the investigation behind it. And I wasn't entirely sure if I wanted to go and see this drama, if I wanted to watch it. I wasn't entirely sure. Because, there is that aspect of things where you think, what is entertainment? And is a drama about the terrible things that Jimmy Savile did, is that entertainment? But I think it's not entertainment, and I think it does have a place in the way things are done. I think it does have a story, and it does have a place in telling that story. It's the same with the Long Shadow, the Yorkshire Ripper murders. I think that it does have a place there, and the reason why I think that is because with the documentary, you're basically like a juror at a court case. You're presented with this evidence. You're presented with interviews from victims and from the investigation team. You're presented with the things that happened and the person that did them, and then it's left up to you to form an opinion on what you think was happening. Whereas with the drama, what happens is you're placed into that world. You're dropped into that world, surrounded by the people that were there, surrounded by surrounded by Jimmy Savile and the victims and everyone who worked with him. You're placed into that time, and you are immersed in it. So you get to see the people that were there. You get to see Jimmy Savile, being the way he was, acting the way that he was. You get to see the people around him who, maybe felt uncomfortable at the time. And I think it gives you a lot more empathy with the people that were there and the victims. I think it gives you a much more better understanding, if it's done properly, of the protagonist and the person who is causing all these problems. I think it gives you an insight into the world that they were in. So I think there is a place for both documentaries and dramas, and I think that if they're done well, drama can give you a good insight into not just the person who caused the trouble, or the murderer, or the person like Jimmy Savile, or whoever it might be. It doesn't just give you an insight into them; it gives you an insight into the victims, which very often are cursory mentions in these things. So I thought Steve Coogan was very good in his portrayal. I felt that he had the nuances of Jimmy Savile there. It wasn't an impression. It wasn't like, the back in the 80s and 90s where the impressionists were doing impressions of Jimmy Savile. It wasn't that. It was a nuanced representation of Jimmy Savile as he really was, told by accounts and investigations and things like this, which I think was very well done. I think it actually gave a good insight into how he really was. He wasn't just this TV. He wasn't this TV persona that everyone saw, on their television shows. Behind the scenes, he was actually very menacing, very intimidating, and I think Steve Coogan played that really well. I think he brought in those nuances to his character. I thought the other actors were fantastic in the way that they portrayed their characters and the way they showed the concern that was there at the time. And I think that it all actually worked very well as an entirety. There are people that I have seen reviewed this that found it very disturbing and very uncomfortable. And I think that's a good thing, because I think what you don't want to be is entertained by it. I wasn't entertained by it, I was intrigued by it. It kept me wanting to watch it, not because of entertainment value, but because I wanted to see what actually happened. Now I know it's a dramatisation. It's not going to be 100% accurate, but I think it needs to make people feel what it should be feeling, and I think uncomfortable and repulsed even, I think is what it needs to do, because I think there are still a lot of people like that out there in all walks of life, not just in the entertainment business. And I think it's important that people are aware of the things that are going on. So I think it actually did a very good job. I think the BBC were the ones to make it. I think if this had been made by ITV or Channel 4 or something like that, you would have had people saying, well, they're just having a dig at the BBC. Obviously, you have to wonder, did they give a whole account in terms of, did they try and water it down, or did they try to sugarcoat it? I don't think they did. I think that this is a good thing for the BBC to do, because it shows that, yes, they understand what happened, and it was a very bad thing to do. The brushing under the carpet, the covering up, the perhaps in some cases ignoring what was going on. It wasn't a good thing to do, and I think that the BBC have done a decent job with that. You could argue that another channel would have maybe gone a bit further. I think that it was a good thing that the BBC did it. I don't think any other channel could have done it, and because I think it needed to be them. I think it needed to be the BBC that made this drama series. So I think overall, I think it was really good, and I think that yes, it is uncomfortable to watch. Yes, it is distressing to watch, but I think it's something that needs to be out there to heighten not only the situation with these predators, but also the situation regarding the victims and how they are taken advantage of, and how they are used in these ways. So I think overall it was a very good drama series, and I think that it has a very telling message, which I think is an important one to tell. But I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I'd love to hear your thoughts on not just this drama series, obviously, but I also want to know your thoughts on whether these events should be dramatised. Things like the Yorkshire Ripper murders, things like this. Should they be dramatised, or do you think that they should just be left to be documentaries and that's it? They shouldn't be dramatised at all. Let me know down in the comments what you think, and I'll see you next time.